Good morning, Northern Michigan. Welcome to Friday Face-Off here on Up North Sports Radio, 101.1 WGRY, brought to us by TVCAirport.com. Jerry Coyne, Rich Calkins, and our old pal Keith Gave joining us. Keith reaching out to us to talk about Steve Yzerman. But
I thought I was here to talk about World Cup soccer, JC. Come on, man.
It wasn't funny the first time.
I'm sorry.
But, of course, Rich, we brought in a special guest for us today to get prepped for the big marathon coming up here next Saturday. David, how are you? Step up to the mic.
Wonderful. Thanks for having me in.
David Burr is joining us for this is race number 4, right?
Yeah, this will be my 4th marathon.
Yeah, and starting to make a reputation as a badass paddler.
Yeah, I'm doing my best to climb up the ranks and let people know that I'm, breathing down their necks and I'm coming.
I love it.
There you go.
I like
Who's
that.
your partner?
Nate Peer, I had him last year. He's from Roscommon.
Yeah, after you burned your brother out a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
He couldn't hang.
Well, you know what? It's not made for everybody. Let's face facts.
Yeah, it's not. It's grueling. It's a real mental game out there.
Talk about that. Rich and I kind of dabbled in it last year with the pros and Joes. 6 miles, an hour's worth of paddling. Didn't really knock me out this year, even though we had smoke in the air. But I didn't feel fabulous. So the mental part, you've got to be in great shape. But it is mental toughness more than anything else, isn't it? To keep going, to make your body, to ignore what your body is telling you.
Yeah, I think, something I say is paddling is uncomfortable. How long are you willing to be uncomfortable for?
Uh-huh.
And you just have to be willing to be uncomfortable until you get to the end. So, however long it takes to get to the end, and the faster that you're going, and the harder that you're pushing, the more uncomfortable that it's going to be. So you just got to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Well, that's well said.
Yeah.
We just talked about spectating for the first time. People seeing it for the first time. You had certain expectations the first time you paddled. When you got to the finish, how were those expectations changed maybe?
Well,
What was it like the first time?
The first time I finished, it felt like I won.
Yeah, it should.
Yeah.
Well, you had built up to it, though. I don't want to interrupt,
No,
but
please.
just a second, because you were in the kids' race for a while. Now, are they even doing that anymore?
They still do all the kids races.
Okay.
They actually have more kids races now and youth races for even younger.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah.
Because that goes to Mayo Dam, right?
No, the kids races. It's actually this weekend with the Spikes Challenge is the mini marathon.
Okay.
Or maybe that's the day of the marathon. Like I said, there's so many now. But
Yeah.
most of them just go from like Joe Wakely's to Burton's. So just about 45 minutes.
Okay, so pretty much what we did.
Yeah.
All right. So when was the first time? Is the first time going the whole route? Was the first time you were actually in the marathon?
Yeah. I don't usually just do 16 hours for fun.
I don't think anybody ever does that unless you
Even
do it.
running marathons, right, they'll train up to maybe 20 miles, but paddling, right, it's impossible to duplicate.
Okay, so go ahead and where I interrupted. So you felt like that was a victory.
Yeah. I mean, when I got to the end, man, it's like it was. I don't know what it sounded like, but it was so loud to me. My dad tackled me into the water. I was flexing. I got a great picture in the Wall of Fame, and I mean it was surreal.
Hearing the William Tell overture as you're rounding the bend.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah,
How cool is that?
Yeah, hearing that song is and knowing that you're there. Man, I mean, it's something special. Again, something that you can't duplicate.
Right.
Practicing either or any of the little races.
Right.
None of it.
And you did do it with your brother, right, the first time there? So you made it through?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that is super cool.
Oh, it is. That's
Yeah.
that's a lifetime memory there.
Yeah,
So,
it is.
so then it kind of you shift gears and you're like, now I want to do something special. Like I mean, the ultimate goal is to actually win this thing, right?
Yeah, I'm confident enough to say this and humble enough to know that it's not this year, right?
Right.
I truly believe that I will be the fastest man alive, and I will have it on a shirt, and I will wear it when I win the marathon eventually. Not this year, not next year, But eventually, I'm confident that I will win this.
So, with that mindset, I know your dad is close to Jeff Kolka. Have you spent any time with Jeff or any of the other amazing paddlers to kind of pick their brain and see what it takes to get all the way to win this race?
Yeah, I spent time with a few champions, and I got a lot of great vets that I've been able to be around.
Uh-huh.
I mean, Ted, Jeff's brother,
Yeah.
was my feeder the first 3 years.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
I've had top competitors around me teaching me and giving me that knowledge, and I've been in the boat with Jeff, and he that first year back, Jeff got in the boat with me, fixed my stroke. I mean, he pulled me over on the side of the river and was like, "I can get more out of you," and he did, and yeah.
He's like that. I
Jeff,
mean,
absolutely.
He and Rich were doing secret paddling.
Oh yeah,
Without
he had to.
That's
Oh, he does.
secret.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have a saved voicemail on my phone right now of Jeff talking about going paddling. He said, "Don't tell those Hanyaks." And
Yeah.
that's talking about an old term. Jeff
Yeah,
said
yeah.
those Hanyaks.
That's
They're
funny.
talking about Billy, of course, Taranjo and Jerry, and so it's Jeff. He was trained by his dad, Mad Jack Kolka, and so and Jeff's got a lot of that in him, and what made him a champ.
Yeah, well, and Jack, but he's that gets in your blood.
Oh,
right?
yes, yeah.
Yeah, it's an amazing fraternity of paddlers and the history of the race. And, you grew up here in Grayling, David, and it obviously gets in your blood, and you can't shake it. I paddled with Bill. This is his 40th start this year.
Yeah.
Finished all 39 times so far, and one of the legendary paddlers, and he can't shake it.
I heard him talk though. Probably he thinks this is his last one, but he may
Really?
have been saying that the last 10 years.
Yeah.
But he did say that. He said, "I really think this is gonna finally be it." So
Well, he thinks that his body is breaking down. I wish my body.
yeah.
I wish I looked that good at 60. I'll tell you a very quick story. So we did our one little paddling session on Lake Marguerite to figure out if I could do this again. And then we were sitting around talking for a little bit, and he was going from that paddling session to another sprint paddling, and he just picked, the canoe that we paddled in. He picked up the canoe by himself, lifted it in the air. I go, "Billy, do you want any help?" He goes, "No, I got it." Throws it on the back of his
Wow.
the rack on his truck. I'm
Wow.
like, Jesus, I don't think your body's breaking down that bad, pal.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, he's been an animal all these years.
Yeah.
And, I remember when he first got started, back in Roscommon Day, he paddled with his brother. And they started at the Roscommon Canoe Race at the very first year and just, got the bug and has raced every year since.
David, when I hear you speak, I get pretty excited and optimistic about the future of this race, looking forward. How is your generation affecting the growth of this sport? Are enough guys your age, a little older, a little younger, involved and serious about this?
I think the first time I heard the term Young Guns, I think, was last year, and there's a pile of them. Like, I think, Jeff Kolka, about a decade ago, started a youth program.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
one of the
The
schools.
paddling,
Yes,
the paddling
yeah.
school, yeah.
And, I think that was a huge thing to really get people involved. But growing up in the town full of world-class paddlers that shuts down for a week so people can run,
Right.
I think that just naturally gives you that draw, and athletes are always going to be athletes. So when you get out of school and you're like, "What do I do?" Get in the boat. Get in the boat.
This is good to
exactly.
hear. Good to
Yeah,
hear.
Jeff's got them in there. As long as they can sit in the canoe, all right, you're ready to paddle.
Yeah.
And he'll teach them.
We had Virginia Parker and Annalee Roll.
Yeah.
So she's 18.
Yeah, a youngster.
Yeah.
And then there was a 17-year-old Texan that was on the banks. I was
Adelaide,
talking.
excuse me.
And she's doing her first American. She's racing with Chris Isendorf's son.
Yeah.
Kyle. Yeah. And so anyway,
Oh, she's staying with them.
17 years old
Yeah.
by herself, Karen, initially. But yeah, she's excited to paddle her first marathon.
Well, she's done that Texas Safari
Right.
race, and
She has,
I mean,
yeah.
which is a mother scratcher.
Right.
So yeah, I guess there's kids still get the bug, and because this is Adelaide's second marathon. She raced last year with, I can't remember her partner, was a guy.
How many boats this year so far?
105.
105. So that means there are 210 great stories in this race.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's
Well,
a
as you said, Chris Isendorf and Kyle Miner. I had talked to Chris because I thought originally he was going to skip the race after he won the Texas Safari race,
Right.
and because he was going to be part of the Pros and Joes. And I'm certain, like I texted you yesterday, they were up for a few days visiting
Serge Corbin.
Serge Corbin, and I guarantee you, Serge gave him enough crap about not getting into the race that they filed.
Yeah, the guilt got to him.
Yeah, something happened because I was talking to Kolka about it yesterday, and he said that Texas race will tear you up.
Yeah.
And he doesn't think it's enough time. They didn't think it was enough time to get their bodies recovered to be in the race, and then they
Right.
just couldn't give it up.
Yeah.
Couldn't give it up.
You know, they do it every year. Last year, Chris won in like a C4 or C6, right?
Right.
Wasn't Minor a part of that?
Yeah.
I think he, yes,
Yeah,
he
he
was.
was.
He
Right.
was. Yeah.
And then Chris came and took second, and Minor came and, I don't know, was probably top 5.
Right.
You know, so I mean, these guys do it every single year.
Well, and then he won this year. So he'd won it in a C2 race, a C6 race, and a
it's
C1.
now solo.
Yeah, I think he's the only guy to ever
I mean-
win all 3 disciplines.
To do that by yourself is just crazy.
Yeah, but
Crazy.
so did Adelaide. Adelaide,
Oh,
the
she did?
18-year-old, she went solo
Wow.
and finished the race.
Wow.
So I mean, this
Wow.
girl has got some moxie.
Yeah, no question.
So it is just. The more you dig into it, the more layers to this race.
Exactly.
Yes. It's
Yes.
crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about rookie teams. I was doing some research last night, and there's a rookie team that's either in their late 60s or early 70s. As rookies, both of them are rookies, and they're that old.
Well, you had a rookie team last year, Keith. That when we do the live broadcast
Yeah.
from the race, which will be next Saturday from 6 to 9 on Q100 Michigan. There was a rookie team last year, but I think they were both like in their late 50s.
Right.
I cannot believe there's a rookie team in their 70s.
Yeah.
That seems to me to be pushing the envelope a little bit.
Yeah, you got that. And again, I'm trying to.
I mean, Lynn Whitty is 71. She's paddling again. I mean, she's been in a mixed team now for God knows how many
But
times.
she's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
A
But she's
rookie
still
at 70.
71.
Oh, I get it. I get it. Yeah.
And she will finish almost assuredly. So
Right.
I guess your body gets used to it, right, David?
Yeah, I mean, if you're training and you just get to fall back on that when things get tough, fall back on your training.
How long does it take for you to feel right? How many days after the race? When do you start feeling normal again?
Well, my preps got better throughout the years.
Okay.
To feel better after. But I mean, probably 2 or 3. I try not to go back to work until Thursday, which is really pushing it, you know.
I love this. I take my vacation time so my body can get.
Yeah.
I could go back to work on Tuesdays, but you
No
spend
way.
so much time in the boat and away from family and everything
Yeah.
throughout the year that you're like, well, let's just take this whole week and recover and regroup and have some fun.
So what, other than the actual, as you said, uncomfortableness in the boat for 15, 16 hours, however long it takes you, the thing that blew my mind that I didn't even figure out is when Rich and I paddled and Bill told me to get out of the canoe, like so we kind of took
After
a little
about 35, 40
35 minutes, and
yeah.
I couldn't get my legs to work
Yeah.
in just 40 minutes. So to be how long is it for the first to Mayo
six
is
hours.
About 6 hours, yeah.
So then you got to, and in the middle of the night, you got to get out of that canoe after you've been in there for 6 hours with your legs kind of, stay in a way
Yeah.
that they're not ready to work.
Right.
So what's that like?
Well, coming through the ponds, when you know that you're fixing the portage, you start shuffling your feet and getting your legs woken up and warmed up.
Okay.
So, that's you kind of start prepping for it, knowing that it's coming.
Yeah, if Billy had told me, maybe I would have had been slightly more prepared
Yeah.
than watching him carry the canoe by himself through the woods, and I'm like running around, not even running, stumbling like a drunk. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah.
He picked the canoe up. You were still in it. He's like, get out of
He
the
might
boat,
be in
man."
great shape, but he's not hauling my 245-pound ass through the woods in a canoe.
No, but talk about, David, that adrenaline rush, though, getting to Mayo Dam and having that huge crowd there with those stadium lights. That's got to be a huge boon and excitement for you guys, getting there and getting out of the canoe for the first time.
Oh yeah, I mean the sprint through. Usually we're with boats coming through these ponds, So the sprint and everybody getting there and trying to be the first to the portage and then trying to be the first to make it through. That in itself is tons of fun. It's tough for me to not enjoy the bridges and the dams as focused as I am, to have a smile on my face. 'Cause
Sure.
it's just truly something that I love. And you're running with people that are supporting you. Our feed team is
Right.
right there running with us. Jason Lozon has ran with me every portage, every year, and he's going to do it again with me this year. And I mean, it's great getting checked up, and he's so encouraging. He's like, "You guys are doing great." Everybody's screaming. Again, it's like when you're in these situations, it's so loud,
Right.
and all you can hear is your own thoughts,
'Cause
and everything else is just noise.
You're truly coming from a wilderness setting where it's just the animals, the bugs, and then you come to these bridges and all of a sudden the roar at decibel levels that are crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally night and day, and it's just like you said, it's hard to hear, but having a good feed team, someone communicating to you the whole time, it's got to be huge for you guys.
Yeah, it is crazy coming through, especially when you're trying to hear feeders and people check up on you before your feeds. And
Right.
They're like, "Hey, what do you need?" And all you're listening for is your one guy's hup, hup, hup.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what you're listening for, and you hear 40 hups, and you're trying to pick the exact one.
Right. Was that my partner,
Yeah.
or was that
I mean,
someone else?
I even noticed that on Wednesday with 3 teams all
Yeah.
saying we're all right next to each other, and and I recognize it's Billy's voice, but you're like,
It's so tough, and it's so tense. Getting out of town, I mean, the 10,000 voices, if you're not like screaming like, "Ha!" Like if
Yeah.
you're not screaming
well,
it.
plus you're so jammed
Oh.
in there, and you're gonna now. We'll find out where you get in the
After sprints.
after the
Yeah, we
sprints.
sprint on Thursday, so.
So I mean, do you have a target there? You want to be in the first 3 rows? I mean,
We are, so our marathon goal is to be sub 16 hours,
Okay.
which is very obtainable for us. So that's our plan, which should be right in the top 30.
Okay.
And for sprints, we can hang with the best of them off the start. It's a little later in the race that they tend to get away from us. So for sprints, I mean, we'd love to be top 20 in the sprints and then try and hang with them guys getting out of town. We're quick on our feet too. So that run, getting to the river and jumping in, we're young, we got good knees, we can jump off the high parts of the docks and not wait.
well, the water's pretty high right
now.
now too, which is nice to see.
It is.
I mean, yeah.
We got 2 inches on, what is it, Eisendorf's dock stories? Or
Yeah.
diaries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see, and we should get a little bit more rain, so
Yeah.
hopefully we don't lose everything that's in the river, because it certainly was noticeably faster just in our little paddle
Yeah.
on Wednesday.
Do you think the smoke will affect water level at all?
I don't know. You know
Like-
what? I could taste the smoke.
Yeah.
Now
Oh, yeah.
we could. I don't think we could have done it yesterday.
Oh, yeah, yesterday
Yeah,
was brutal.
Yeah, no, because it was when we paddled on Wednesday, it was 280.
Yeah.
And yesterday was 560.
Yeah.
So when we got in the
Did you
water
paddle yesterday?
Yeah, so we got in. We did a night run a couple nights ago,
Uh-huh.
and there was a spot that we came across, and we wanted to go and scout that. So we went yesterday and scouted it. When we got in the water, it was under 300. It was like 280, 290,
Okay.
and when we got out, it was like 330. So
You
and
could taste
it. It was
it.
like a 40-minute paddle. Yeah, I mean
You
can
could
tell.
taste it.
Yeah.
You know, it was funny because when we first got in the water, it was really noticeable.
Yeah.
Like for the first 10 minutes paddling, and then my lungs adjusted. I go, well, now I'm burning wood fuel, and Billy kind of chuckled, and then it wasn't a thing at all. But I don't know how long that would last. Like after an hour and a half, 2 hours. You know, they were talking yesterday. If you were out in the air for an hour, you could get carbon monoxide poisoning. That's what that.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's why they canceled the Alanis Morissette show
Right.
and John Mellencamp show and everything, because you just couldn't
Yeah.
put people in that kind of situation. So hopefully we don't have any, you know, who knows what it'll be like next Saturday.
Yeah, hopefully the
Yeah.
weather patterns change. We get this out of here and everything's clean sailing.
Yeah.
Well, Nate's working up towards Mackinac,
Uh-huh.
my partner, and he said that it's clearing up there.
Yeah.
So
Good.
Good.
We must have a good wind draft going on.
All right. Well, David, thanks for joining us here. Best of luck. I'll get your gear together for you in a day or two.
Yeah, thanks, JC. Thanks
All
for
right.
making us one of the races. Can I shout some sponsors out real
Yeah,
quick?
absolutely.
First and foremost, I want to thank Q100 and WGRY for making us a 4-time team sponsor.
Well, you can
And-
thank your dad.
Yeah. Well, he's next. I am going to thank him. You know, he hides in the woods off like crazy points in people's yards, and he's like, hey, you know, hollering, whatever we need. But yeah, my dad with Big Gator Painting, Grayling Baptist Church has been there, and they come and pray with us and really build us up. And that's where we attend, and that's where me and Nate actually met. We're able to make
Hi,
this
hold on a
relationship
second,
and get in the
okay?
boat.
We're just finishing up something. You'll be on the hold for
Young's Environmental Cleanup. Dennis Spillane started up a new dentistry here in town, Pier North Dentistry. He's amazing. Handrich Tree Service with Brandon Handrich. He's amazing. Q100 again. Hagerman's Construction, and all these guys have been here and been loyal to us, and we've been loyal to them, and it's been great with the support through the years. And just thanks to all them guys. Thanks to Nate for racing with me, and his two brothers, Nick and Danny, that are going to be feeding us, and
Awesome.
Jason, and everybody. Everything's great. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, David.
There
We
goes-
will be back after these words from our fine partners on Up North Sports Radio's Friday Face Off, brought to us by TVCAirport.com.
I do a lot announcing of the sprints down there. Your dad used to hold the canoes for many, many years.
Yeah.
down there, so yeah.
Welcome back to Friday Face Off. It's time for Destination MLB. Autumn McLaren standing in for Kevin Klein from Traverse City Cherry Capital Airport. Autumn, Tiger baseball back up, and they're in Los Angeles this weekend. Can we still step on a flight and get out there?
Most certainly. You can get on a couple different flights. You can either go through Charlotte today. That flight leaves at 4 o'clock, or you can go through Chicago today, and that flight leaves at 7:53, and it's only, get this, $519. Not too bad for leaving day of.
No, not too bad at all. I know that flight's been in the $500 range, which is shocking to get from Traverse City to L.A., spend a few days out there, watch them handle their business versus the Angels. Where else have you been scouting travel to watch the Tigers make this playoff run?
Yeah, if you want to head over to Chicago next week, they're with the Chicago Cubs, July 20th to the 22nd, and you can get there for right about $700. That flight is running on the higher end. Chicago's a hot market this summer.
I guess so, because there's some towns that have been surprising. Give us a rundown of a few other travel destinations from TVC Airport and Detroit Tiger baseball.
So they're home after Chicago,
Right.
For a little bit, and then they head back out to the West Coast in Sacramento. They will be there at the end of the month, July 31st through August 2nd, and you can get out there for $384 right now.
That is
on United.
Yeah, that is crazy. Kevin and I talked about that last week. That's less than $400. Now, if people don't know exactly where Sacramento is, it's a cool little town. It's the state capital of California, but it's only 90 minutes from San Francisco. It's also 90 minutes from Lake Tahoe. So there's a lot of different places that you could visit, see the Tigers, and see one of the most beautiful parts of the country for less than $400. That's just incredible.
I love that. Just an awesome travel itinerary to kind of end the summer. Well, we got a little summer left, right, after August? So I guess it wouldn't be ending the summer, but Lake Tahoe's gorgeous. Great stuff.
Just north of Sacramento is where the Redwood Forest is. So,
oh my gosh, so beautiful.
Yeah,
let's go.
Let's go.
How about we take this show
Hang
on the
up.
road?
We're leaving, Autumn, you and me.
I like it. Let's do it. Kevin will sign off. He's a yes man this week.
Anything else on the itinerary, and do you have a latest update? Kevin had told me last week that the Detroit Lions Frankfurt, Germany trip, that price had come down.
Yeah, that actually is still hovering around the same price as last week, which is not too bad, right around $840 if you want to head out to Munich. And you can also hit some of the Christmas markets out that time of year. So get that flight right now. That'd be a great time that time of year.
No doubt about it. Autumn, I want to switch gears just for a second. I know there was a story that kind of floated out that Southwest Airlines was going to be coming to Traverse City when the next terminal is open, but that was an AI story, correct?
Yes, that was a AI false-generated story. As much as I would love to be pulling out the party supplies and throwing the biggest bash ever for Southwest, not yet.
All right, that's fair. So, and I know construction is going along smoothly. So,
it is.
Yeah, we should be right on target for that new terminal.
We should. We can't wait. We are right on schedule. The teams over there, they're doing amazing. So we can't wait for May of 2028.
Yeah. Autumn, where do people find all these great destinations and fairs?
Head over to tvcairport.com.
Thank you, dear. We'll talk to you. I guess I got you next week, too.
Yeah, you got me 2 weeks in a row.
Thank God.
Yes.
All right. Bye, Autumn.
A lovely sentiment. I'm sure Kevin will appreciate.
He will. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
There you go, gang.
Let's go.
Detroit Tiger baseball. Detroit Red Wing hockey. Have you talked to Stevie yet?
I have not. I've talked to a few people. It's a little bit chaotic around there right now.
It feels like it. Even speculating, none of it looks good.
No, it doesn't. The one thing. The timing is just weird to me. If they're going to do something, if Chris Hill is going to do something like this, why wouldn't he have done it 3 months ago?
Right.
That's the weird part. Everybody who was available have found jobs.
Sure.
It's going to be harder to find somebody. Now, middle of July to September, everybody's at the lake.
Yeah.
Nobody. The NHL shuts down right now this time of year.
Right after the draft is when they shut down. Other than like that week, because you got free agency.
That's
and
right.
The draft.
That's right. Now the Red Wings still have some really important business. Like, what do they do with Dylan Larkin?
Is there a world where he comes back?
I cannot see that, Jay.
I don't see how you do that.
How do you walk that back? Right. The guy. If I'm his teammate, I don't want him back.
I don't know unless you really go make the case that Steve was just way too stubborn to run the team.
This kid is a pariah right now, and he's a Detroit kid. His family's here. I don't know. Wait till he comes back. You thought Sergei Fedorov was treated poorly when he came back to Joe Louis Arena? Wait till Dylan Larkin comes back in a different uniform and see how he's treated by fans. It's going to be really ugly. But people worry about Steve Yzerman's legacy. I think he's going to be just fine.
Yeah,
folks.
I
He's
think
going to
he'll
be
be
just
fine,
fine.
too.
Listen, they're way back when, Ted Lindsay, Alex Del Vecchio, Sid Abel were all failed general managers.
Oh, yeah.
Still revered by sports fans. Alan Trammell, still revered, even though fans suffered through his term as manager.
Right.
Still very much revered. Steve Yzerman's going to be just fine.
Yeah.
But I gotta feel. This is, you want to call it a soft firing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe it was a mutual decision. Steve Yzerman just came to the conclusion that he'd had it.
Yeah.
I think.
No, I think
a couple of things. He wasn't able to adjust fast enough, or doesn't like the changing economics of the NHL
And their attitude.
it's
it's sneakily
it's
similar to the Dusty May leaving at U of M, where you just
yeah.
I have this opportunity. I don't want to do this I don't want to play by these set of rules.
Right.
Stevie couldn't change the rules.
No,
So, yeah.
frankly, Steve Yzerman's buddy, his former assistant in Tampa and in Detroit, Pat Verbeek, is out in Anaheim right now, who
He learned the same thing?
who just had his salary cap blown up. His best player, Leo Carlson, could have signed him to a $9.5 million contract. Sounds like a lot. Very, very fair these days, because Leo Carlson just got an offer sheet from Philadelphia, $18 million a year. And Anaheim had to match it, and Anaheim's got several really good young players. They still have to sign, and they got no money left.
Yep.
So-
it was like a poison pill by the offer sheet. Say, look, match it or.
I know.
And Yzerman is one of those Scrooge McDucks when it comes to
He's a
paying
stubborn
players.
man.
It's not even his money. I mean, there's a couple of players out there that he could have done the exact same thing
Yes.
to, because
Oh, yes.
the Wings have a ton of cap room.
Yep.
And the other part of this is Larkin is now probably the most economical
$8.5 million.
$8
No
million.
question.
He's a bargain.
Everybody needs a number one or number two. Everybody does.
Yeah.
Everybody does. And he's got 5 years left at $8.5 million. That's a huge bargain. That's worth a first-round draft pick all by itself.
Yes.
But they've got the next guy coming in, and whoever that's going to be has to get fair value back from wherever he's
There
traded.
is no fair value. I mean, you could make the one. Who's the one player that they're talking about from Dallas, the forward?
Robertson.
Jason Robertson.
Yeah. Now that's a parallel move. Robinson would look really good in the
Yeah,
Red Wing. He's
he
not
would.
a center.
No, that's right. He's a
Yeah.
wing. He's not a center, and so
he's
that's
one of the best.
Well,
Red Wings in hockey.
he's a great forward. He's a Detroit kid. Not that matters.
Not
Because Dylan
anymore.
Larkin's a Detroit kid. So we shouldn't link just because they're from Detroit or the Detroit area. They should come
Automatically,
here.
yeah.
It's the flip side of that is it's really hard to play in your own hometown
Yeah.
because the expectations are so
Sure.
high. What are they going to do now?
That's the question. That's why you're here, Keith.
Yeah.
Now, Keith, what they were talking on 97 won the ticket here yesterday. They were talking that Yzerman wasn't big into analytics, and a lot of other teams are moving in that direction. And someone that is a little more analytical in that job. Have you heard that, or is that just talk?
I think they're breaking it down too much.
Okay.
They're throwing stuff against the
Yep.
wall. I think. I mean, everyone wants to bring up analytics. It's a big part of the game now. Detroit may not be the quickest team or the deepest team when it comes to analytics.
I throw
but
that. I think that's complete garbage.
I believe it is, too.
Tigers are one of the most analytic teams
Yep.
in baseball. You can't be Chris Ilitch and go,
Right.
well, how come we're doing all this on baseball
Yeah.
and we don't do any of it on hockey?
Right.
Besides, it's Ilitch's job to stand above the organization.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Say
It's
what-
one thing for him not to The biggest question, Keith, you keep going back to the Quinn Hughes
Yeah.
deal,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
And why Steve didn't pull the trigger. That to me, that's
the straw that broke the camel's back.
100%.
I think.
You don't get that. People come down like, well, he would have done the deal, but Hughes wouldn't sign an extension.
Right. Bill Guerin made the deal anyways without needing that extension, and made a big difference.
Yeah.
To that franchise. I agree. Again, that's Steve Yzerman's stubbornness.
I get it.
Yeah.
And his fiscal stubbornness. He
Yep.
didn't want to. He
Shrewd
wanted.
negotiator.
Shrewd enough to kind of want
you like-
out of the job.
Yeah.
You have to understand the beginning of this, and I think, Keith, you'll echo this. Tell me if I'm wrong or not. The biggest problem, at the end of the last great era of hockey, they had extended all these contracts. The Red Wings were upside down, and a whole bunch of players that were not worth their salaries and everything else.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure, Stevie had that 1 year off before he came, and studying the whole thing. Well, we can't operate like this.
Right.
And so it's a 180-degree pull.
Yep.
And here we are.
Yep.
And he kind of got caught by his own his own efforts to fix what was wrong.
I got to be careful about saying something bad about Ken Holland because I really like him and he did some great things as general manager
100%.
of the Detroit Red Wings. But he fell in love with his players. He gave them too much money, too much term, no trade contracts, and they weren't not a lot of good enough NHL players to compete.
Oh yeah.
And then they started. They bring in Jeff Blashill after Babcock leaves, and they start trading away their best players.
Yeah.
And on purpose because they wanted to tank and have a high draft pick. Then they got screwed in the draft lottery. All those things.
Oh my God!
I mean, that's
Just terrible luck.
you can say whatever you want about Yzerman. He got no breaks in the draft.
No. And before that, they made some pretty bad decisions or unfortunate decisions. They drafted Philip Zadina when Quinn Hughes was sitting there. All that. But that's water under the bridge. What do they do now?
Well, the other problem, very quickly,
Yeah.
was that Yzerman at Tampa, they hit on third and fourth round picks.
And they're not doing that in Detroit.
right, yeah.
You're exactly right. He had a couple of great number one picks in Moritz Seider, who came out of nowhere, a brilliant pick, and Lucas Raymond. But they've had a lot of second and third round draft picks that haven't hit.
No.
And is it Steve Yzerman? Is it a scouting staff?
Is
Whatever.
it the development? I'm just, we see
Because
we see
Kosa
Calder
was supposed to
Cups,
be
and,
this,
you take a look at how great the Griffins were for the first 3 quarters of this year, and you're like, why doesn't this translate to the NHL?
You have in Grand Rapids. There's a lot of really, really good American Hockey League players.
Yeah.
There's no difference makers who will come to the NHL and be a difference maker. There really aren't.
Right.
And it's a pretty good team. It's a nice. They built a nice American Hockey League team, a minor league team.
Yep.
But I don't see a whole lot of prospects that we should be really excited about. And that's an issue. Their goaltending. Maybe they got some good goaltending. They just traded Kosa away. That was another
They
miss.
had 3 guys,
Augustine,
But these guys haven't played a lick in the NHL.
Yeah.
So, but listen, what do they do now? If Chris Ilitch is anything like his father, and he's not. We know that. We know that. But what did Mike Ilitch and Mike and Mary, when they bought the team, what did they do way back in 1982?
They gave away a car at every hockey.
Well, they ultimately. But what they did was they looked around and they looked for the assistant general manager of the best team in hockey at the time. The New York Islanders. Yeah. They were in the process of winning 4 Stanley Cups in a row. After their third one, they hired the guy who drafted all those players to put that team together, and that was Jim Devellano, who's still with the team, by the way.
Yeah,
I talked to him just the other day.
I know you talked to him a lot.
Yeah, I talked to him a fair amount.
Yeah.
But so you got to kind of look. If I were guessing what Chris Ilitch is doing, should be doing, is looking at the top franchises in the NHL right now and looking at some of the assistants. None of the guys like Brett Peterson in Florida.
Right. Who's the guy in Carolina?
Shoot.
No, I saw the list of some of those names, and they're. But the question is,
Brandon Pridham in Pittsburgh just got hired in Pittsburgh. York, I think, in Jim Neal's assistant in Dallas.
Oh, okay.
But the thing is, none of those guys have a ton of experience either. What I think they ought to do is bring in somebody with a fair amount of experience that's going to give the fan base a little bit of a jolt, like Brendan Shanahan as president of the organization, president of hockey operations, to mentor one of these young guns who can get experience running hockey, who are ready.
Yeah.
There's some good
Shanahan
people-
did a decent job at Toronto. They just never got over the hump.
Right.
They drafted very well. I mean, they had some really good players, but they hated all those players. Don't like playing in Toronto.
Right.
How many
Right,
guys
right.
begged out of Toronto?
Yeah.
The whole thing is it's not your father's NHL. I mean,
Not
that's
at all.
That's
Not
the
at all.
biggest problem.
Yeah.
And Detroit used to be a place that was easy to recruit to. Original 6 team, iconic
Right.
jersey. Steve Eisenman's running the franchise
Sure.
and so on. It ain't that way anymore.
Right.
I mean, word gets out around the league among players, and frankly, that's the thing that one of the things with the changing economics of the league. But the second thing that I think drove Eisenman crazy is the sense of entitlement of this generation of hockey players,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Dylan Larkin is the poster boy for that.
Well, he became that.
He is.
I mean, we could talk about. In fact, we will continue this discussion about the Red Wings here on Up North Sports Radio's Friday Face-Off. We have a quick pause for messages from our fine partners. Welcome back to Friday Face-Off here on Up North Sports Radio, brought to us by TVCAirport.com. Jerry Coyne, Rich Calkins, and our good friend Keith Gave. Continuing our discussion of the upheaval in the Detroit Red Wings. You know, Keith, there's been a little kind of bubbling about, you mentioned before we went to break about Dylan Larkin being the poster boy for player entitlement. There's a lot of people talking about the fact that this is an American hockey thing. Canadian hockey players are still, stalwart.
Right.
We play for the team. We play with broken legs and everything else.
I buy that.
I do buy
I buy that.
I buy it 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In all these
The
American
difference
players.
between Connor McDavid and Austin Matthews or Dylan Larkin
is immense.
night and day.
It's immense.
Yeah.
You're right. That's a really good point, JC. And I think it got worse, or better in some, maybe some say, during the Olympics when the
Olympics,
American
yeah.
team win.
When they can all, yeah.
And I think Dylan Larkin got a lot of bad advice from his drinking buddies.
Yep.
And I see the NBA.
Yeah, you could just imagine that. You don't have to put up with that
No,
shit.
exactly.
Yeah.
I see the NBA creeping into the NHL. These players want to get their posses together and all.
Yep.
Let's figure out a way to play together in Florida or Dallas or whatever. Let's figure.
Well, the funny thing is that's not happening in the NBA anymore. I mean, I know LeBron is kind of the focus of this,
Yeah.
but the super teams are not a thing anymore. They just don't work
They're-
in the economics
Right.
of the NBA.
It feels like it's trying to come to the NHL, and I don't like it. And it's the American players who are pushing it. I absolutely agree with that.
100%, that's the thing. And, I don't know how that mentality works because you know as well as I do how the national development team works. It's still a family-based
Absolutely.
organization. And however this has morphed into coddling these players, maybe the worst thing that could have happened is that they won the gold medal.
Yeah, I started covering the NHL 41 years ago, whatever, and I've covered all nationalities of players.
Yeah.
And I will tell you point blank that some of the most difficult people to deal with, the biggest a-holes, have been the Americans.
Yeah.
They got this star syndrome, star sickness. They were raised that
Right.
way. Canadians, just good and middle class,
Yeah.
Canadian boys,
Right.
all for the team, and so on. You don't get that so much among the Americans. It's all about me, me, me,
Yeah.
me, me,
No, it's,
and it's getting worse.
Yeah.
Getting worse.
So I mean, there is no easy fix for what's going to happen with the Red Wings. I don't see a great player coming in that can help the franchise.
No.
So like A plus B equals C. That means that DeBrincat is gone too.
I think so too.
Because he's a free agent next year.
Yes.
He's not going to sign
Yeah.
to play.
Yes. Yes, we're looking at another 5 or 6 years of rebuilding
Yeah.
in this
Sure.
town, and that's hard to stomach because they were this close the last 3 years of
Well, they weren't that close because even if. By missing, we sat here a couple years ago when Stevie didn't buy at the deadline.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
the whole team revolted, right? And they lost by a point to the
Yep.
Caps.
Yep.
But when you watched the NHL playoffs this year, the Wings, even if they made the playoffs, were nowhere near as good as the Carolina Hurricanes.
I get that, but you make it.
I get it.
You make it. You play a couple of home games. It's $20 million that
I understand
the owner's going to make.
And I'm sure Chris was tired of that. And now they've got the biggest problem, and we'll leave it at this. You can comment, both of you guys. The Pistons could be massively great, and all of a sudden the LCA is Pistons Palace, and nobody is in the building for the Red Wings.
Yeah, and it's hard to imagine. It's hard to stomach.
That part I get. It's
Yeah.
not hard to imagine.
No,
I'm seeing it right now.
Yeah, it's happening. I agree
Yeah.
with you.
So-
The one thing the one thing we haven't hit on is, could they possibly make a change from within? Bring up Chris Draper or Sean Horkoff.
No way.
I don't see that's happening
Yeah.
at all. You got to bring
You
in.
know how much I love Chris.
Oh yeah, and
know.
Sean Horkoff's a good hockey man.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. They got to bring in somebody new. And frankly, they probably got to clean house. They got to make a lot of changes.
Oh, yeah?
Steve Eisman's hired a lot of his former teammates and buddies. I love them all. I'd hate to see anybody lose their job, but you got to do something different because what
You do.
And that ultimately is probably one of the biggest problems because all those guys are on the same page. And to run a very successful organization, you need one other voice that says, Steve,
Yeah.
this is not working.
Yeah.
Somebody 3
Yeah.
years ago is saying,
Yeah.
look at what's happening
Right.
in this league.
That's right.
Yeah.
And why didn't they make a deal for Kachuk?
Oh, I don't like that guy. I just don't like the guy. He's one of those American players who.
But at least he plays with an edge. And,
Well, he does.
He
He does,
and
yeah.
that's the other problem with Dylan. I mean, Dylan is a very good hockey player, but he didn't get protected. Let's face the facts. They did,
Oh, for sure.
He would get I don't know if that is an indictment on how much maybe his own players didn't like him
No,
that
you're right.
much.
You're right.
Nobody ever stood up for him. He used to take a beating.
I mean, you got big-bodied Rasmussen, who's just not physical enough, and got,
JC and Rich, a lot of people are mentioning Jim Nill's name. Former
Right.
Red Wings assistant, built a great and powerful team in Dallas.
Dallas.
Well, make the call to Jim Nill. If you're Jim Nill and you got that team in Dallas, you come to Detroit. That's delusional thinking as far as I'm
I
concerned.
get it.
Yeah.
But now his assistant there, a kid named Scott White. I misspoke earlier.
Yeah.
He's been an assistant for 10 years, seen a lot, done a lot. You got to look at somebody like that to come up
You also
and.
got to figure that, but Dallas hasn't won a Stanley Cup either.
But they're
I understand.
really highly
I
competitive.
get it. At least they're a perennial playoff
Right.
powerhouse.
I like Florida. Florida's the most dominant team in the last 5 years. The kid Brett Peterson down there has worked next to Bill Zito
Why would he want to come here?
to be a general manager. There are only 32 jobs.
Yeah.
Remember that.
Yep.
And he's an assistant.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll talk Tiger baseball and some other things as we head out of this program. Thanks to our good friends at Up North Sports Radio, at TVC Airport. But I was thinking about this yesterday, Rich, with this smoke and everything else. We got these beautiful golf courses.
Yes, we do.
But this group of 16 kids came in at Tinker's Junction yesterday. They played golf anyway. But the smoke is clearing out, and you can play at Shanty Creek. We're going to have much better weather over the weekend, and there's lots of open tee times. So go to shantycreek.com and book them. You can have a great weekend of golf and maybe have a little room to yourself on the golf course. But Lindsay wanted us to remember that in just a month, we've got Balloons Over Bel Air happening. That's the weekend of August 28th. You want to book your rooms at the Lakeview Hotel. Imagine just, open up your window and there's balloons floating all over the place. You watch the balloons, you play a little golf, you have some great dining. It's all great vacation worthy at shantycreek.com. Welcome back to Friday Face-Off here on Up North Sports Radio, 101.1 WGRY, brought to us by TVCAirport.com. Jerry Coyne and Rick Hawkins, so happy to be joined by our old partner, Keith Gave. Keith, what's your thoughts? The Tigers, I personally don't see a world where they don't win the Central Division. I really mean this. Look at their schedule for the rest of the year.
Was it the easiest of all of Major League Baseball, I believe?
Yeah,
First or second.
First or second. But I still, what do you think about Scuba?
That's the $1 million question, or
I don't even think that
$300 million question is something like that. Yeah. Listen, if they
He's got to go.
he's got to stay.
No, he's
He's got to stay. How are they going to win the Central if they don't keep him?
I think the starting pitching is good enough without
You
him.
think so?
Yeah.
But
if Flaherty keeps pitching the way he's pitching,
Troy
Mize
Melton,
and so on.
0.81 whip.
That's
I
but they go into the playoffs with this pitching. They could be in the World Series. They have enough pitching to get them in the World Series in the American League.
if they pick up a bullpen arm, a really good closer, they still.
Yeah.
That's the one
Yes.
problem that with the pitching. Jansen has not been as
Oh,
advertised.
no.
Right.
Finnegan has not been
Okay.
great. Vest is gone. Luckily Montero has turned into a pretty good relief pitcher,
Yeah.
or they'd really
Right,
have
right.
some problems.
Can Jackson Job come back and maybe be that heater guy?
Brisky,
But again,
Brisky's
yeah,
supposed to be coming right back. There's so many ifs on the back end. Look at how many they have. 13 blown saves. Where if they get half of those,
Yeah.
they're winning.
They're in
the
it.
Central
That's right.
Division.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But regarding Scooble, I've never agreed with giving pitchers that kind of money over that kind of term.
Yeah.
Because you just never know when they're going to blow out an arm, and all that money's gone.
Well, I get
right.
it.
That's
I-
exactly.
So I reasonably I would trade. I mean, get what I could.
Yeah.
But I sure like this team with him, finishing out the season and going into the playoffs, because I think they could really do some damage.
And talk about a risque move, GM wise. Do you hold on to him, and if you don't, do you know what I mean? Then you're getting all you're getting is that compensatory pick next year. Nothing for him because he's going to walk. 99%
These
chance.
are really interesting
And
times in
it's
Detroit,
an
aren't they?
interesting dynamic for sure.
It's a fun team.
It is.
It's a fun team to watch. I mean, McGonigal has been I'm not a big Scott Harris fan. They could have brought McGonigal up last year, and if they got this kind of production, then that solves the hitting
That's a
problem.
big if, because that was part of the development that got him this successful
Yeah.
in the first place here.
It was still Double-A.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
yeah.
There's a couple guys in AAA that might come up, and I don't think they'll make the same mistake.
Yeah, the two Maxes, Max Clark and Max Anderson.
Max
is it?
Anderson, yeah.
How about that moment with Eduardo Valencia?
Oh my gosh, was that incredible?
Did you get tears in your eyes? 'Cause I sure as hell did.
absolutely, yeah.
That was a great moment.
Yeah, it'd be great if
Thank
he
you.
had another 12 home runs in him.
Yeah.
Yes, it would. Yeah, but
He's off to a heck of a
He
start.
was at 5 for 8, or I think his
No,
first
yeah,
at
I
bats
mean,
with a couple of
hey.
home runs.
I'm glad it's back. I hate the week off. When
Oh, I know. Yeah. Drives me crazy.
I hear you.
I mean, even with the World Cup,
Cup.
and
Yeah.
Joe, after spending all this time in Spain, he's like,
Oh,
this is
sure,
good. I mean,
sure,
Yeah.
I
sure.
can't believe it, Dad. And I'm like, you're right, I can't believe it.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm watching this right now. But
Oh, I watch old movies. I'm not watching this. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm the last.
I watched the U.S. play.
I'm
and
last.
then-
I turned that thing off in 8 minutes. It was so obvious to me in that Belgian game that Belgium had a plan and the USA did not.
Oh,
I mean,
that was ugly.
I know enough about athletics to know that game was not going anywhere.
U.S. reverted back to the old U.S. It was just like where they were aggressive before, ball control. That was nothing like that in that game.
Well, that's because they were playing a better team.
A much better
Yeah,
team.
So, I have to put in my gratuitous plug for our golf show. We've got the Open Championship going on right now, Royal Birkdale. It's like playing golf on the moon. I'm serious. I mean, when they play over in the UK and it's warm, and the ball just runs forever. It's
Right.
just nutty. But you can get that golf at the Loop at
Yeah.
Forest Dunes. It's exactly like that. I'm telling you.
The same
Well,
experience, eh?
yeah, it is.
That's
and
wild.
why. And I'll tell you what. And everybody all my clients and everything else that I play golf with, they're like, "Hey, let's play the Loop," and I'm like, "Okay."
I just played it on Sunday.
Did you?
Yeah.
Look at you, Keith.
Yeah.
Golf?
Yeah.
You have clubs?
I do.
Okay, I guess the fish aren't
I'm
biting.
playing a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not. It's
So,
been a tough
how
season.
hard is that? The Loop is.
Oh, yeah. It's honestly, that golf course is way too good for me. I shouldn't even be out there. But I have a friend who's a groundskeeper out there, and I can play for $35.
Wow.
Nice.
$35 at a cart for
Yeah.
18 holes.
I mean,
So
it is so hard to get the ball into the hole on those greens.
Yeah.
But the ball runs forever in the fairway.
Yeah.
You know, you
Yeah.
hit it in the fairway over there, and the fairways are super wide.
I've played it like not the loop, but 15 times in the early days of out there, and their tee boxes are like some courses greens.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was just
Oh.
the most. I mean,
Yeah.
it was just a beautiful course.
So I don't know what's going on. I'm sure Rich are you pulling up the leaderboard, Rich?
You certainly can here.
It's this week's Finding Fairway show.
Yeah, the Australian Lucas Herbert, he shot a 62
One,
under 2 today.
Yeah, no,
he
he
missed
was-
a 4-footer that would have put him in the record books, but no, that was pretty crazy.
so you can count him out.
Yeah, exactly. But look, Cam Young is coming up there. He's
Yeah, Cam Young
at
was good
6
today.
under.
I watched some of that. We'll see what the afternoon wave is like. Scotty and all the guys that I bet on aren't playing till this afternoon.
Right.
But of course, as usual, when it's a major week, I have Dan Pohl on, and we discuss what it takes in championship golf to be successful. Dan was always a great, although he never won a major, he lost in a playoff for at the Masters.
I remember
Finished
watching that.
second in the U.S. Open to Jack Nicklaus and Tom Watson once. I mean, the guy was
No
a
shame in that.
Yeah.
tough course, tough conditions kind of player. And so there's some fun conversations there.
For sure.
And then we talked to the gal that owns Black Bear in Vanderbilt. They put a lot of money into the golf course up there, and they've really turned it around.
Oh, great.
Nice.
Yeah, so
Played there quite a few
that's
times.
a lot of fun. Anything that you guys want to talk about? Oh, we're off the air.